So I will start my first lesson, and the first lesson story is the school story. And the target skill today is understanding characters. This is a graph for organizing the characters characters and their thoughts and words or actions may tell you how the character responds or changes the next move. So I I made a graph. Let's make a graph about it. So I will make the graphs not the graphs without the words first. You know the mm, shapes. So that's the box with dots in it. That's one with words. That's the actions. And this come to this. So after we read the story, I think we should fill in the lines in these. So we will go to the story now and let's read it. Oh, it's there later. Full story. Natalie Nelson's widowed mother, Hannah, is the children's book editor at Sheffield Junior Books. Hannah's boss, Lesna, is pressuring her to find a school story that will become the company's next best-selling book. Natalie thinks The Cheater, a novel she just wrote, could be the book, but she doesn't want to disclose her true identity. Natalie's friend Zoe Raisman comes up with a daring plan. Turn Natalie into author Cassandra Day and Zoe into her agent Zizi from the Sherry Clutch agency. All Natalie has to do is make sure her story ends up with Hannah rather than Hannah's co-worker Ella, keeper of unread manuscripts. So in this paragraph, you can see that Natalie is the main character. Is in this story, and the book says that we should graph it into Natalie Nelson's mother Hannah. So we will write the character up there. The character is Hannah. So let's read more. Natalie got off the elevator at Sheffield Junior Books at 4:25. She walked to the desk and handed a thick brown envelope to the receptionist. Natalie smiled and said, "A messenger brought this. It's for my mom. Do you need to check it in or can I take it right back to her?" She looked at the address and label and said, "All it needs is a date stamp with my initials." The stamp was made a mechanical ka-chock sound as he pressed it down on the front of the envelope, and then he scribbled his initials below the date. Now the package looked official. "Here you go." He handed the envelope back to Natalie, then pushed the secretary button to open the door for her. So there's no hint of Hannah's thoughts, words, or actions here. Let's read the next paragraph. Natalie wound her way through the maze to her mom's office. Her mouth was dry. Even though she'd been here 100 times, she felt like a spy sneaking into a strange building. Hi, Mom! As her mom swung her chair around and smiled, Natalie glanced at the phone console on the desk beside the computer screen. The message waiting light was dark. That meant her mom had already listened to Zizi's message. Here, Natalie said as she handed the envelope to her mom. This is for you. Hannah Nelson looked at the envelope. The large address label was printed in bright green ink. She looked the return address aloud. The Sherry Clutch Literary Agency? I just heard a message from this agent, but I don't think I know her. Oh well. And she dropped the envelope onto the papers beside her computer. Can you give me a juice or something, Natalie? I didn't even stop for lunch today. The thought and word or action, we get a hint of this action already because that this Natalie was changed into Cassandra Day, changed her name to Cassandra Day, and secretly got it to her mother Hannah, and mother Hannah, Natalie's mother Hannah has just got the letter and manuscript. The but the actions you need not to jumble things up. The action is what Hannah does, and word that Hannah does, thought that Hannah thinks. Okay, so let's go on to the rest of the page. Natalie returned with 2 bottles of apple juice and some shortbread cookies. Her mom held up her bottle for a toast, and when Natalie clicked in, her mom said, "Here's to our weekend." And that moment, Elsa walked in. She stepped over the space carefully and leaned over to look at Hannah's computer screen. Natalie caught the sharp scent of Letha's perfume and took a step backward. With a strange smile, Letha said, "I love the weekend too, but I don't think it's quite here yet. Have you double-checked all those revisions, Hannah? The production manager is calling me for that text every half hour, and we can't get out of here until it's released." Glancing around Hannah's workspace, she snatched up the new envelope and said, "What's this?" Hannah said, "That is just a manuscript. Must be a new agency. Share something." Leslie read the label. Sharon Clutch. Oh yes, I believe I've heard of her. She's supposed to be very polite. Listen, buzz me the second you're sure all those revisions check out, okay? And I want to give this a look over the weekend. Natalia dropped the envelope on Hannah's lap and swept out of the office. So we read all this, and we can see that Hannah thinks that we can get hint that something Hannah thinks is quite like this. She wants to have a weekend, but she's very busy. She's busy and she's tired. So the thought should be, I'm tired and busy. So let's go to the next slide. Hannah shook her head and gave Natalia a wry smile. So much for the weekend, eh? Listen, I've got to get back to work. Tim is probably gone by now, so you can hang out over there, okay? So I'm tired and busy. Wait a minute. Actually, I don't think this is the thought. Maybe I can wait until the last of it and I could get it back. Another one, actually. Natalia said, "Sure, Mom." As she walked over to Tim's cubicle, Natalia tried not to smile. The editorial director of Shipley Junior Books that had just pretended that she knew all about Sherry Clutch's literary agency, and then she had ordered her best editor to read a novel written by a 12-year-old. Alone in Tim's office, Natalia grinned. For the first time ever, she was glad that her mom's was a fire-breathing, stuck-up know-it-all. After Letta told her mom to read the manuscript, Cassandra Day couldn't wait to tell her agent about this unexpected development. Natalia actually picked up the phone in Tim's office and dialed half of those numbers. Then she stopped and asked herself, do I really want Zoe calling me every 5 minutes all weekend long asking me, has she read it? Has she read it yet? Natalie hung up the phone. Then she picked it up and dialed the numbers again. Zoe deserved some kind of progress report, but she doesn't need to know everything. Bad enough that one of us has to worry the whole weekend. Zoe Raisman's room at the Raisman residence. Zoe Raisman speaking. Natalia kept her voice low because her mom's office was only 10 feet away. So it's me. The manuscript is here. It's in my mom's office. Zoe was excited. Great. Is she going to read it? Did she listen to my message? Do you think she suspects anything? I know she got your message, and she doesn't suspect a thing. And I'm pretty sure she's going to read it. So we'll just have to see what happens next. You know, said Zoe slowly, you could maybe help these things along. You know, like pick up the envelope and say, I wonder if this one's any good, something like that. Natalia smiled, but she talked in a serious voice. She wanted Zoe to calm down. No, I think we better just let things move ahead on their own. If there's no action in a week or so, then maybe you can call her again. Zoe did not like that idea. A week? Are you crazy? A week is forever. If you don't hear from her in 3 days, then I'm going to turn the heat up, way up. Look, Zizi, relax. I've got to get up the phone now, but I'll let you know if anything else happens, okay? Zoe said. Hey, maybe you can offer to read for her. You know, help her out around the office. So, said Natalie. No, 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 no. Just be patient. Yeah, said Z. So, easy for you to say. No, it's easy for me to say though. I want you to know that what she thinks about it as much as you do. But we're just going to have it let move along one step at a time, okay? There was a pause, and then Zoe said, okay, you're right, I guess. I'll call you if there's any news, I promise. Okay, said Drew. Bye. And then, and that only Natalia and Zoe's thoughts are read, thought word actions are read. And the character we're going to do is Kana. When they finally left the office at 7:50 on Friday night, Natalia could see the envelope from Sarah Clutch Literary Agency sticking up from the outside pocket of Mom's briefcase. Natalia tried to decide what she was feeling. She couldn't figure out if she was happy or scared or numb or what, because what Zoe had said at the very beginning was true now. All of a sudden, her mom wasn't just her mom. She was her editor. Hannah Nelson would be the first person to read the tutor in a professional way. Her mom would be comparing to Natalia's story to all the other manuscripts she had read during the past 5 years at Shipley Junior Books. Manuscripts written by successful, established professional authors. Part of Natalia wanted to snatch at the envelope out of her mom's briefcase and toss it into a trash barrel. But it was too late for that. The day of judgment had arrived. But the day wasn't Friday night when they got home, Natalia and her mom went right out again at a Chinese restaurant and then caught a late movie at their local theater. One of those British movies where half the actors wear fancy clothes and the other half looked like beggars. It was a lovely story with plenty of action and a little bit of romance, but Natalia couldn't stay focused on it. Her mind kept wandering back to that envelope still in the briefcase, sitting on her chair in the entryway of their loft. And Saturday wasn't the Judgment Day either. In the morning, they went grocery shopping, and there was the laundry, and then they both spent 2 hours cleaning the loft from one end to another. And then it was dinner time. Natalie went to her room to read after dinner, hoping that if she left her mom alone, she'd remember the manuscript. At about 9 o'clock, Natalie opened her bedroom door and walked stealthily to the living room area. Peeking from behind the big leafy plants that framed the living room, she saw her mom. She was asleep on the couch, feet propped up on the coffee table, open magazine on her lap, bathed in flickering light from the muted TV. So that does not show her thought, word, or action either. Lying in bed later, Natalia tossed and turned. She thought about the heap of envelopes stacked up in Ella's darkened office. For every envelope there was a person somewhere, and Natalia knew how each of them felt. Those people were out there tonight sleeping in hundreds of different beds in hundreds of different towns in dozens of different states. Each day each person woke up and thought, maybe the editor will read my story today. Maybe the editor will call me today. Every day, each writer wondered if the mail would bring a letter, maybe good news from New York City. And Natalia felt guilty. Her envelope wasn't in a heap somewhere in the dark office. Her story wasn't in the editor's briefcase. The editor's boss has assigned her story ahead somewhere. Natalia sat up in bed and looked at the clock. It was almost midnight. She groped for the phone on her bedside and punched the glowing buttons. Zoe answered on the third ring, groggy and grumpy. "Hello? It's me, Zoe. I've got to tell you what happened." It took Natalia about 2 minutes to tell Zoe how her story found its way home with the editor for the weekend. Zoe was wide awake now. "So she read it? Did she like it? What did she say when she finished it? Come on, tell me." "Well, he hasn't read it yet. Not yet." "She hasn't read it? So why didn't you call me in the middle of the night?" Natalia hesitated. Because I feel bad. I feel like the girl in my book. I feel like I'm a cheater too. All those other stories at my mom's office, stories that she'll never even look at. And here's my story, and it's all the way up at the head of the line. I just doesn't feel fair. That's all. Not fair? Who said things are fair? It's never fair, Natalia. You're a great writer, and someone like me isn't. Is that fair? Is it? "Well, no, I guess not," said Natalia. "But you're great at things I stink at." "Exactly," said Zoe. "It's all evens out. It's easier fair, but it's not. Your mom is a good editor at a good publishing company, and someone else's mom isn't. Is that fair? No, not really." "Of course it's not fair. It's just the way it is. Didn't you have to work hard to write your book, just as hard as others writers did?" Natalia nodded as she answered, "Yeah, I did. I worked hard." "So do you know why your book is going to get looked at and some of the other ones aren't? It's because you are who you are and your mom is who she is and you worked hard to write a great book." So paused to let that thought sink in. And she said, "And there's another reason your book would get published and most of the others won't." Natalia said, "What's that?" And her best agent voice still said, "Because you have a great agent and those others don't. Now listen, Cassandra, I'm giving you good advice. You hear me? You hang up out now and get a good night's sleep. And just thinking so much. Your artists are all like Thinking. Not to worry, darling. Zizi is going to take a good care of you. After hanging up, Natalie felt better, but it still took another hour to get to sleep. And even after her lecture to Cassandra, Zizi lay awake doing some thinking of her own. Then on Sunday it happened. It was late in the afternoon, and after finished her math and English, Natalie settled into her beanbag chair to read about ancient Egypt and in her social studies book. The chair was so comfortable, and she had stayed up too late in the night before. The next thing Natalie knew, her mom was shaking her awake. Natalie, you won't believe this. You know this manuscript Nessa made me bring home? Well, I opened it up and just so I can tell her I looked at it and I started reading it and it's just, well, I couldn't stop reading. It's one of the best things I read in a long time, and besides that, it's even a school story. Isn't that great? So that's the word that Hannah says. Well, I couldn't stop reading. She thinks Hannah's stories is Cassandra's story is brilliant. Natalie want Natalie um Natalie wanted to throw her arms around her mom's neck and burst into tears. She wanted to say, "It's my mom. I wrote that. I wrote it for you, and I wrote it for mom and dad, and I'm so happy that you like it." But she couldn't, so she didn't. Instead, Natalie gulped and she smiled and said, "That's great, mom. So is it really good?" Her mom nodded excitedly. It's got a wonderful feeling all through it. I mean, it needs some work here and there, but this Cassandra J, it's the author. It's her first novel, and for first novel, it was terrific. I can't wait for you to hear it. And then Talon nodded and said, "I'd love to." So the action is that Hannah tells her, Hannah tells her, Hannah tells Natalie. So Hannah tells Natalie that So Hannah tells Natalie about it, and that's the end of the story. So we could actually, so the responding of the character is quite clear now, isn't it? So we did the graph, and it is finished. So and it could and it works in various parts of the story. So I would encourage you to do that parts and make the graph of it, Zizi and Natalie's. And there's some of the grammars here. Dialogues are things like these. Hello, nice to meet you, said So that's a dialogue, the green part. Similes is getting two different words and putting them together to explain something like this. The pink parts are the part that contrast human and a tiny gland. He looked like a tiny gland compared to this monster. That's the bit that almost always get out on that the stories tell decimally that the source most commonly used when it is to fairy tales. So my lesson ends now, and I hope I hope you see the next lesson. Bye.